because carbon pricing, so putting a price on carbon, only works if it's reliable. Yeah? If you know how much gas or petrol will cost in the future, you will today buy the right car or the right heating system. And if this is unreliable, then the signal doesn't work anymore. And this is what happened here. The start of this extra levy, so to say, was postponed, and that again punishes those that have thought of this and have been the front runners, and it basically rewards the laggards. And I think that is really a very difficult situation. I think the better thing would have been to keep it where it is and to help the poor population to cope with the problems.
Okay, and also as Europe raises its climate ambition, exporters selling into EU may face higher carbon requirements. So how might this affect the manufacturers in countries like China, India, or Southeast Asia?
Yeah, that's, I think, an important part of the EU policy, that one has understood that, okay, if in Europe the production goes climate neutral, then one has to ensure that anything that's imported into the EU has the same conditions. And that's now implemented as a policy, and I think that's an opportunity for the countries that are exporting, because if you are faster with the transition, and if you are the first one to be able to export to the EU green products, then you will get a higher market share of what you can sell into the EU. So I think I would rather see it as an opportunity for those that do the transition faster. They can then have access to a larger market.
Yeah, but even for those who are transitioning faster, the EU is increasingly using tools like the carbon border adjustment mechanism to protect its own industries during this transition. So with the 2040 target being so ambitious, is there a risk that this could be seen as bringing in protectionism? And how can Europe avoid triggering trade tensions with major economies like China or the US?
Now, the EU is very careful so that this carbon border adjustment mechanism is in line with international trade regulations. So that's very important to the EU. And again, it is trying to say that this is a support mechanism to transform the world into the carbon neutral production system. I think one way that the EU could do it as well is it could actually offer help to countries that want to import into the EU. So some of the revenues that are generated with this carbon border adjustment mechanism could be used to help those countries that import into the EU to make the transition a bit faster. And I think that would be is currently discussed by some in the EU. That has not been part of any decision, but I would think that that would be actually a good way forward.
Yeah, so I mean, with this 2040 target, the EU is also sending a strong signal globally. So how might this influence other major emitters in shaping their own climate commitments?
I think it does already shape other major emitters' climate commitments, or at least climate actions. We've just said those countries that import into the EU, they already now think about carbon pricing, they think about how to transform, how to comply with the carbon border adjustment mechanism, how to be able to import into the EU. So we see that in many countries that the climate policy of the EU has already an impact on other countries. And I think that's an important part. I think climate change is a global issue. We need to do it together, but it always needs front runners to make others move. And I think the EU here with its climate policy for climate neutrality by 2050 and this very comprehensive policy framework is a front runner, and with that is moving others in the same direction.
Okay, well actually as Europe's moving towards this 90% emission reduction target, China has just released its goal in its 15th five-year plan, and it aims to reduce carbon intensity by 17% by 2035. So, do you see opportunities to better align these two long-term climate pathways, or do you think we're moving towards more competition?
Well, I think the US under President Trump has taken a complete different path. Yeah? The US is now supporting fossil fuels and doesn't think about the transition towards renewables. And in that situation, it's time for new alliances, so that countries come together that have the same interests. And I think here there's a clear interest between the EU and China to go along the same way. I mean, China has seen that renewable energy, electric mobilities, batteries, all of that seems to be a business opportunity for China, and China has now global leadership in all of these technologies. So a clear interest that the transition is happening. And the EU also has a clear interest that the transition is happening because it's totally dependent on fossil fuel imports that come from regions which they cannot influence. So both countries have clear common interests, and that's why I think it's a huge opportunity now that the world is reshuffled a little bit, to find new alliances how to do this.
Okay, Dr. Nicholas Hühne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And that wraps up this edition of Climate Watch. You can find more episodes on your favorite podcast platforms. Just search for Climate Watch and hit subscribe. Don't forget to leave us a quick review or share it with a friend. You can also email us at radio@cgtn.com with your questions or feedback. And stay updated on the latest climate stories with our Substack newsletter, Climate Choices. I'm Zhao Ying. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.
Hey there, global listeners. Get ready for the hottest discussions on the airwaves. Roundtable. Your piece. Impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
I'm sort of toned down.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for grammar.
Why not try takeaway Chinese? Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese with the platform for an in-depth look at economic matters with leaders and decision makers.
As China's 15th five-year plan unveils a new
Sie sind in der Jazz-Ecke von Radio Rumänien International dabei und hörten gerade Richard Oschanitsky Group mit dem Stück Prozession von einem Memorial-Album des Labels Seven Dreams Records aus dem Jahr 2006, das wiederum ein Remastering einer Studioaufnahme aus den späten 1960ern ist. Weiter geht es mit Vokalmusik, und zwar mit der leider auch viel zu früh verstorbenen rumänischen Jazzsängerin Anca Pargel. Im gleich folgenden Stück ahmt die Musikerin mit ihrer Stimme den Klang des orthodoxen Läutebretts nach, mit dem Nonnen oder Mönche zum Gebet rufen. Zum Schluss geht die Darbietung in einen mehrstimmigen Choral über, der in rumänisch-orthodoxen Kirchen während der Ostermesse angestimmt wird. Das Stück nennt sich Läutebrett zu Ostern und stammt vom Album Carpathian Colors aus dem Jahr 1993.